Jeff, thanks for joining us. Being that you are the president of the Hall of Fame and this is Hall of Fame induction weekend, can you explain what this weekend is like for you?
Well, it's for all of us in Cooperstown. It's certainly the highlight of the entire calendar, and for baseball, it's probably one of the biggest weekends on the whole calendar. So it's an opportunity for guys to get inducted, be welcomed by a number of your uh, new teammates, the other Hall of Famers, and for fans of the game, it's the ultimate experience of your baseball cards coming to life.
Yeah, Jeff, living in a small town like Cooperstown all year long, what's the biggest change on Hall of Fame weekend? Because the population quintuples, I've read somewhere.
Yeah, no, I mean Hall of Fame weekend is an opportunity for fans from all around the country to come say thank you to the players that they enjoyed. So, you move from being a town of 1,800 residents with one stoplight to, last year we had 60,000 fans here. So, if you imagine like 30 times the population of New York showing up for an event, that's what it's like in Cooperstown.
As the president of the Hall of Fame, what are some of your day-to-day tasks that you put in?
Well, it's operating a great history museum first and foremost. We have a 50,000 square foot museum dedicated to the entire history of the sport. 90 full-time employees. We're 200 in the summertime. Welcome 300,000 people a year. So the museum's our primary focus, of course, preparing for special events such as Hall of Fame Classic and Hall of Fame Weekend.
Tell me about some of the inductees. We'll start with Pudge Rodriguez. It's only the second catcher to be inducted first ballot, means an incredible amount to his fans back home in Puerto Rico. Your thoughts on him?
Well, when you think of Pudge Rodriguez, of course, you think of the defense, you think of the 13 gold gloves, you think of the phenomenal success in throwing out would-be base stealers, and you think about the durability this guy had in setting the record for all-time games caught. But on the other side of the ball, he hit over 300 home runs, 2,800 hits, and just a force. He's an all-around player and a winner, and brought a lot of enthusiasm into the clubhouse.
Tim Raines getting in on his 10th and final try. Are you happy to see him finally get in after all the waiting?
I'm happy when any Hall of Famer makes it, but for Tim, it's probably a little bit sweeter than for most because of having to wait all that time. And took the writers a while to come around and think about the fact that he was on base 4,000 times, fifth all-time in steals with 808, and a catalyst for the Expos and a couple championships in New York. So a deserving guy, and maybe a little bit sweeter because he had to wait so long.
A follow-up on Tim Raines. I've seen a lot of Expos jerseys here, more Expos jerseys than I've seen in about 10, 15 years, considering they haven't been a team since 2005. What are your thoughts on these Montreal fans being able to finally enjoy one last hurrah, so to speak, for their club?
Well, if Vladdy gets in next year, I don't know if it'll be one more hurrah. There may be yet another hurrah. But Expos fans have traveled to Cooperstown en masse for all of their guys. Andre Dawson, Gary Carter, and now with Rock, it's not unusual to see them come down. It's a passionate fan base, and maybe someday they'll have a team again. But it's evident there's a lot of baseball fans there.
Jeff Bagwell, Von Rodriguez, both getting in, two guys that had at least whispers about PEDs. Now, I know you don't have a vote, but where do you stand on that, on letting these guys in addition to Bonds, Clemens, Sosa?
Well, I mean, for Pudge and for Jeff, they submitted and with every test that was done by Major League Baseball. They never tested positive, and both have sworn by their admission that they were clean. And that's a celebration of their careers is taking place this weekend because the voters agreed with them and made that decision to elect them. For any player on the ballot, the last thing you want to do is not see the rules taken seriously. And the rules instruct writers to look at the totality of a player's career and also character, integrity, and sportsmanship. And character, integrity, and sportsmanship reflects to how did you treat the game, how did you treat your uniform, were you respectful? And the writers have a crystal ball they have to look in, they have to make value judgments, and at the end of the day, whomever they choose to elect, we're prepared to honor.
Just along that same token, is there anything you'd like to see changed about the voting process over the next few years?
We're always looking at the voting process, as is the BBWAA. We have a great hand-in-hand relationship, but right now I think it continues to be in a good place. We've evolved it a little bit over the last few years. We've changed the maximum amount of time you can be on a ballot from 15 to 10 years, simply because nobody was getting in after 10 years. I think in 35 years, 2 or 3 players had, so it sort of moves them along to a veterans process a little bit sooner. And we attritioned the voting body a little bit 2 years ago, asking voters who have long been removed to the game to no longer vote. So I think you have a peer-to-peer review, I think the length of stay on the ballot at 10 years is right, and it continues to be exceedingly difficult to earn election as it should be.
In your time as president of the Hall of Fame, is there one accomplishment that you're most proud of?
Uh, no, I think just the fact that our staff is very cohesive, very well-run museum, hallmark of customer service is strong. The fact that every visitor seems to leave with a smile on their face and having learned something. Maybe that's our hallmark, but by and large, just a commitment to excellence by our staff and making sure that anybody who comes to Cooperstown has had a worthwhile visit.
Just before we let you go, what's your favorite memory from a Hall of Fame weekend? Can be last year, can be year before, it can be way, way back.
Oh, I have so many favorite memories. It's hard to pick just one, but my first day at the Hall of Fame was induction '94, and it was a little bit sweet for me because Phil Rizzuto went in that year along with Leo DeRocher and Steve Carlton, but I had worked with Scooter at the Yankees, and seeing this guy get elected and be on stage and give one of the funniest speeches ever is something that'll always stick with me.
Jeff, you got any tips for fans that come up here next year or whenever it is when they visit Cooperstown? What should they do besides obviously see the Hall of Fame?
Well, just keep in mind you're coming into a small town. As we talked about, it's only 1,800 residents. That just be a little patient, come up a little early, and to just really enjoy the beauty and splendor of Cooperstown, and realize that if you want your baseball cards to come to life, this is where you belong.
All right, Jeff, thanks for talking with us. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.